Hello everyone, in today's time-lapse tutorial video, we are going to sketch this busy one-point perspective street scene that is filled with tourists. So for this particular sketch, I'll be using mixed media pen and ink with watercolor. This first part of the video that you are watching, this is just the pen and ink section. The second part of the video will be on the watercolor painting process. And these are the pens that I will be using. These are the Derwent Graphik Line Painter. Now I actually planned for this particular tutorial as an opaque ink tutorial video because I was thinking that maybe the Derwent Line Painter, the lines will be opaque enough for me to draw over the watercolor and over the black lines later on. But as I have discovered, the inks are actually not that opaque, which is why I also have the Bombay India ink on standby. But even so, the Bombay India ink is also not as opaque. So anyway, if you want to follow along with this tutorial, or if you want to challenge yourself with this sketch, you can download the reference photo. The link is in the video description below. And also this is actually the condensed version of the full-length tutorial that I have made specially for my patrons. If you want to check out the patron video, which is about 2 times the length of this video, the link is in the video description below. For this sketch, I will also be using a glass dip pen because it's very convenient and it's very easy to clean. Now this sketchbook is a sketchbook that is bound by the Society of Physically Disabled with indigo art papers that I have bought. The paper is 100% cotton, cold-pressed watercolor paper. So for this particular sketch, I would start by drawing the line in the middle to represent the edge of that building right in the center. I want to make sure that I get this line in proportion. I need to draw this line at the perfect length so that I can fit every other element in the scene. If I draw it too big, then all the people, all the other buildings, the windows, everything is going to be too big and I will run out of space as I draw further on. So I need to get the first line, the size of the first line correct. Now this is a one-point perspective scene, so as I draw the diagonal lines, I'm actually pointing to where my left index finger is. Can you see that? Sometimes I may place a point on the paper and draw those diagonal lines to that point. Sometimes I will just place my finger, my index finger in this case, at the vanishing point, so I would draw those diagonal lines to the vanishing point. This is actually a very quick way to get those angles correct. The alternative way is, of course, to measure those angles by sighting, by stretching out your arm, locking your elbows and measuring those angles. So once I draw the big shapes, which are the top for the roof and also the middle line for the second floor, I proceed on to draw the windows. And the windows, the top and bottom lines, they are all in perspective. Since I have already drawn the diagonal lines, I can draw the diagonal lines for the windows very easily. And then I'm just adding some details. For this particular sketch, I am drawing from left to right. As much as possible, I try to draw all my sketches from left to right. Sometimes I may place certain lines on the right side, but that's just to make sure, that's just to help me get the proportion of other elements in the scene. But usually I would draw from left to right. So now I am going to draw the bottom. For the bottom, same thing, the diagonal lines, they will also point to the vanishing point. So I don't really need to measure the angle. Now with this particular scene, there are a lot of people blocking the line at the bottom. This is actually great because when you have people in the foreground blocking things that are in the background, you don't have to draw all the things that are behind. You just have to draw the people. So sometimes when you have people blocking you, it can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. In this case, I think it's a good thing. Anyway, all these people, if you're drawing from real life, they will be walking around. So if you want to draw them, you have to draw them quick. When you see a tourist taking a photo, and if the tourist is posing a photo, that is a very good chance for you to draw that person, because he's going to be stationary for a few seconds. So make good use of that time to draw them while they are not moving. You see those tables that I have just drawn? If you take a look at the reference photo, you will notice that those tables, they are blocked by people. But I am still able to get the perspective of the tables, the legs of the tables correct, because I know where the vanishing point is. And all these tables, they are affected by the same vanishing point on the right side, between the two streets actually. Notice the building right in the center, the one that is lit by strong sunlight. That's a very nice building because of the strong sunlight. That's the side of the building that's lit by sunlight, and on the other side there is a lot of shadow going on because of the red and blue colored drapery that's hanging from the roof. So when you have strong sunlight like this, when you have strong sun and shadows, it really makes the scene more dimensional. It gives it more form. For the details in the background, again, if you cannot see the details, don't draw them. Draw the big shapes first, then fill in the details. And if you cannot see the details, or if you cannot fill in the details, just leave them out. Now, one of the most challenging part about sketching this particular scene is dealing with the foreshortening. So you can see that the front of the shop houses, they are compressed because of the 1-point perspective. The left side is still alright, but if you take a look at the right side, you can barely see the front of those shop houses. And if you take a look at the diagonal lines, they are very steep. They are almost vertical. And those diagonal lines, the ones that I just drew, the angles for those diagonal lines are not easy to measure accurately. So if you want to measure them by sighting, you really need to pay attention, you need to focus. But for me, I would just find out where the vanishing point is and then draw those diagonal lines to the vanishing point. Alright, I'm pretty much done with the black ink, so I'm moving on to draw the rest of the details with the colored inks. So that's why you see I have left certain areas of the sketch blank. That's because I wanted to draw those areas with colored inks, such as the windows, which are red in color. I want to draw them with the red ink. So this is just me playing around with different colored inks. I usually just draw with black ink, but I mean, sometimes it's good to draw with other medium, such as in this case, I draw with different colored inks just to make myself think a bit different. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to learn more about perspective drawing, I actually have an online tutorial course that I'm selling on Gumroad that deals with 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. So if you want to improve your perspective when it comes to sketching, you may want to check out those courses. The link to my Gumroad page is also in the video description below. At this stage, I'm basically just filling in the rest of the details, looking around the reference photo to see if I have left out anything that I have forgotten to draw. Now for this tall building in the background, I don't want it to be so striking. I don't want it to take a lot of attention away from the main street scene. So that's why I am using a graphite colored ink pen to draw those buildings in the background. Buildings in the background or objects that are further away in perspective, the contrast is not that strong, so it's okay to draw them with lighter colored inks, or you can draw them with thinner lines. Alright, so this sketch is considered complete. In the next video, I will be painting with watercolors. So watch out for that video when it comes out. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. I hope this is helpful. See you in the next video. Bye.